Okay, what is the best test prep structure? What I mean by structure, the way you time out the different things that you're doing to prepare for whatever test that you're taking. And the basic idea is kind of a two-part structure that you repeat over and over, depending on how much time you've given yourself, a couple days, a week, longer before the test that you're going to take. And part one is you spend some time self-testing, which, as you may know if you've looked at any of my other videos about test preparation, I consider self-testing the key to any test. So you spend some time self-testing, and then you spend some time reviewing, and you repeat that over and over as many times as you can. Okay, so I'll go into that in more detail, but first let me show you what I usually see people do. Let's say the test is here, okay, and you've got a stretch of time before the test, a couple days, a week, however long. What most people do is they'll just do this review part, which usually means they'll read. In a lot of cases, that means catching up, doing all the reading they didn't do that they feel they were supposed to have done, and they'll just read. Maybe it's just the book or books, maybe it's rereading notes and so on, but they'll do that for days or hours if they're cramming, and then maybe right at the very end they might do a little bit of self-testing, okay, if any at all. But maybe if there's a practice test or study guide questions, they'll do that right at the end. And this structure is very, very inefficient. So if you've ever felt like, I spent so much time preparing for this test, but I just didn't do nearly as well as I wanted to or thought I was going to, then you might want to try out a slightly different pattern. Okay, so this is what you don't want to do. Okay, so how might this work? Okay, so again, our basic pattern is we want to spend some time self-testing, and we want to spend some time reviewing, and then we want to kind of repeat that self-test, review, self-test, review. Okay. First of all, I drew these little boxes, and these are supposed to represent periods of time. I'm a big fan of short periods of time because I think people can be more efficient in short periods of time. Helps with concentration. Also, it helps with management. If you've got lots of things to do, lots of tests or other assignments to deal with simultaneously, if you do things in smaller blocks of time, very often it's easier to manage. So self-testing, just to put a number on there, let's say 10 to 15 minutes worth. What could we do? One example is what I call blank page testing, and this works for basically any class that is not a problem-solving class. So if you've got multiple choice, essay, short answer, etc., this is a technique that will work for that. And pretty simply, you just put whatever topic or concept. You can go larger, you could say, for a particular chapter or whatever, and then you spend some time writing and or drawing pictures or diagrams of what you need to know. So write or draw what you know or what you need to know, and then check or review in your notes or the book or the slides or whatever materials you have available. Okay, so the basic idea here is, instead of putting all the reading or reviewing first, where what usually ends up happening is we end up rereading, reviewing things that we already know, we're already comfortable with. And the things we aren't so comfortable with, or that we don't know, those things kind of tend to fall through the cracks. But if we test ourselves first, that will indicate to us the things that we know and the things that we don't know. So that when we go to review, we can spend our time reviewing the things that we don't know or don't know as well as we need to, so our preparation can be more efficient.